Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. I'm going to update a little bit the BTC dominance chart. I don't want to make this very long, but since we have some a little break in the markets for now, we haven't entered the hopefully euphoria phase. I wanted to take a look at BTC dominance after this recent price action with the little bounce we had yesterday. I said that losing, I think it was 62.18 or 62.20, something like that, 63, sorry. I think this was the level. Let me just draw it. I think it was like this. I said that, yes, around that level. This could make or break the structure. This would be a lower low. I didn't really consider that, right? Even this one, yes, not a very high time frame, so to speak, or bigger low to break to make it or to consider it's a decent move in the making. This was the one because it stayed around here for quite some time. Obviously, breaking this was was a must to come here, and I think this is a clean break of a structure with the rejection here yesterday, right? It looks really good. You could even argue that the next move, which by the way, it's pretty much the place it has bounced from, 62 point, I think it's 27, something like that. Again, this is the daily and trying to pinpoint the exact levels. It's not that important for what we want to see in the coming weeks and months, hopefully. So yeah, to me, this is a break of a structure, which is confirmed, my opinion, on the weekly. We can see this is a rollover after a huge move since March, pretty much, right? We had this little correction here in February, chopping people around, and this looks like a complete rollover, but we need more confirmation. The thing is, by the time you get the confirmation, it might be a little bit too late to get in the market. That's why everyone has to consider the risk management and the risk appetite for those moves. I've been all in for quite some time, so I don't really care if it takes longer. I play the high time frame and I know all this volatility in the daily and such. It's not really important to me. If we open the oscillators to have an idea of what's going on, we have had the finally the weekly break. I was told by indirectly, let's say, by many people on Twitter that these would keep going up and up and up, and I said that, I mean, I don't see any strength, right? It kept climbing. I said this weekly divergence was building. I said it at around 60, 63, whatever. Yes, it kept climbing, but RSI didn't, right? Eventually, like in this case, pretty much the double top here on RSI, we had this initial drop, right? And this was late 2023, early 2024, right? And this was a big move for altcoins too. January and then February with another drops, several drops here. And this one was the Q4 run, right? Without even a divergence here on the weekly, but the same pretty much RSI level, right? So the good thing for now is that we have the breakdown, and you know that below the MA means acceleration. This is Q4, stock RSI in free fall like we saw here. But you might feel that altcoins aren't really pushing that hard. There are some that have really pushed, like Pepe or even Ethereum, considering how bad Ethereum has performed lately. So perhaps all the money is getting pretty much concentrated on several coins for now, several outliers, outperformers, and you might feel that despite this drop, your coins aren't doing much. Just let it all unfold, right? The worst case scenario is a bounce back up, a reclaim of the levels, while your altcoins haven't really done much, and then they even retrace big time. That would be bad, but until we have data to support that, there's no need to worry. However, we might see some bounce on the daily, because honestly, this drop wash has been really sharp. I mean, from 78 down to 32 from Wednesday to make me like 4 days. Insane, right? So we might, so far it's even going lower, right? Being rejected perfectly here, as we said. But there might be some bounce. The thing is, as the same way as I posted on the 4-hour, these bounces, when you are in a downtrend, you can see the whole stock RSI move, potential bullish divergence with these extended or flat divergence, right? The whole stock RSI move just ended on this, right? Lower high and a lower low now. When you are in a clear downtrend, in a high time frame downtrend, these small corrections, I mean these small relief rallies in this case, are not big enough. The same way we have seen that BTC, when it's in a high, in an uptrend in a high time frame, you can see that even the daily at the 4-hour has been just sideways corrections, right? Or very small drops, because the high time frame is strong. This is a new weekly leg, new weekly cycle. That's why the chop in between is not very relevant. The same way when BTC started the downtrend, we saw that the daily impulses were not enough to revert the situation. It was all lower highs and lower lows, right? So I believe we got what we wanted, which is this. At least to have a few weeks of push for our altcoins. Will it go farther? Then we have to say this. Look how fast, look at this candle. If we see in the monthly, weekly, and like a monthly engulfing candle, that could be meaningful, but at the same time, we have pretty much that situation here in November. Very long week in December, right? It was these two candles were really strong for altcoins, but the month closed with a sharp correction in the market for altcoins especially, and then the real crash that we've seen. So far, I think this is a very powerful reversal candle, but this is the key to close below the MA and to close the month below the MA, because in December there was a time or moments when BTC dominance was below, but this monthly close made it stay above, and this just being a retest. So we gotta be careful. We can't just celebrate and get full euphoric because we have seen some initial moves. If we want to see real craziness, you know what I have said so many times, break the MA. Then we might see just this, complete rollover stock RSI, not much from, stock RSI, yeah, not much from RSI. Well, this wasn't much, but this was the huge old season, right? And the stock RSI move was even smaller. We don't know, right? So we have to ride to see if there is a full capitulation from BTC dominance, and it's going to be hard to anticipate, to predict. So all we can do is, if it happens, go back to our altcoin chart, weekly and monthly especially, because if we enter in this kind of monthly reversal, we should pay attention to high time frame to squeeze the most out of this market, because that might be the moment we've been waiting for years, this cycle. So I wouldn't just try to boycott myself on the low time frame, right? Because of PTSD and fear. Just look at yourself, and I look at myself as well. If we keep looking at like the whole Twitter right now, at every resistance level as be careful. I think every slow or low retracement becomes doubts, and you start worrying, because what if this is it? If that's the spirit, that's the sentiment, that means we are not near the top at all, right? You need to read stupid tweets like this: the hat stays on, buy Popcat and thank me later, the frog is the new whatever. I mean, you need to see that kind of arrogance and confidence for quite some time, not just a few days, right? Remember, the casino makes you believe you're winning for quite some time, so you confidently round trip everything you've gained when you think you can't lose anymore. And I think that feeling will come back, and it's gonna be hard, but perhaps by then we have made 10x, 20x, hopefully, but we'll see. So one of the most recent charts that I've been using, you saw that on Twitter, is this 200-day moving averages for BTC dominance. Because first I started with a 4-hour. Let me just open it first. And I said, okay, in Q4, we have a break below, and then rejection and continuation. I don't even know if this could be an attempt to retest, but so far that's all we've got, right? I wouldn't like to see it coming back here and perhaps printing a higher low, to be honest. I want this to continue, complete rollover, right? And this just was the only attempt. So this was Q4, right? You can see the dates. This was October, start chopping, threatening to lose, holding, but then all of a sudden, complete loss of the MAs, right? We could see that in the daily, there was the divergence. We've seen that plenty of times. And now we have this. So far, these could tell us that we might be in for a good ride for perhaps a few weeks, considering now that the weekly RSI is now in the bearish territory, right below the MA. But if we go to the daily, again, these are the key levels that I'm looking at. 60.89 is right now 60.48. Yes, we had a fake out, a big one actually, in Q4, right? But I mean, I'm not counting this bear market kind of fake outs. This was the dead cat bounce in the bear market, right? And the moment it reclaimed, the new cycle started for BTC, and since the bottom, it hasn't broken decisively, right? Only just a fake out. These 200 days. What do you think that could happen when a coin, I don't care which coin, that has been above this trend for so long, with any sizable or durable correction, what could happen? We saw that on the daily with the complete rollover after the divergence stretched over a month, and it looked like it would never come down, right? But do you know what could happen if this completely rolls over? The closest example we have, well, you can say, but here in 2017 happened something similar. It's again, this is not very reliable in my opinion, it's too far away, but all the old season, all the mania, so December, November, January, all this complete cycle was below the 200-day, right? And then reclaimed this was already the bear market. So back to 2021, this is the only data point we have, but that's all we have, and we have to work with this. Losing it, mania, absolute mania. Retracement in summer, pushed back down, right? Very far from even retesting this. And here it started to play in October, right? The top for all coins. At the moment this bottom held, you could perhaps see that this was the real bottom for BTC dominance, and so far it's been, historically speaking, right? Even a fake out here in 2017, the full mania, it went down to 35%, right? You could here the bottom resisted, so you can say clearly that this was just a deviation in the history of the BTC dominance. So this support is really strong, which means that I mean, retesting this in this cycle, I think that would be crazy. But look at the BTC dominance level. The last time it rolled over to here. It even topped way above. Data-wise, I don't think this would be really crazy. I want to believe it's crazy, that it's insane. Reaching here with all the ETF inflows and all the big boys in the market, I think that would be crazy. But again, with what we have seen so far, in my opinion, the small pushes for altcoins have been just very small rotation from BTC and perhaps new money coming in. But we haven't seen the BTC dropping or going sideways for weeks and just dominance dropping constantly. We haven't seen that. Does it mean it will have to happen again because reasons? No. But if we take a look at this bottom, I am not going to be the one that says this is impossible, because I mean, based on data, it is possible. How likely? That's a different question. I want to believe this is too crazy, because the moment you start believing these has to happen, these will happen, you are setting yourself for a huge trap. That's what opium dealers and all these moon boys always say, right? Insane, ridiculous targets, because that's easy engagement, new followers, and that's what they want to dump or to create a paid group later, right? To play with your hopes, with your emotions, and make you believe, right? And as long as that dream is alive, you will keep following what they say. So this is possible. I don't really want to think this is actually likely. This could mean that USDT, right? Let me open it for a second. Well, I want to keep this chart, so I'm going to open TradingView here again, and USDT. That would mean perhaps that we revisit these insane low levels for USDT. This was the February. This would be like going back to 2% dominance. That is insane. That is insane in my opinion. By the way, we are still toying around this 450 level, trying to hold. My opinion is it is pointless. This is a downtrend, and if for some reason we hold it and we go back, as I said in the last video, that would be really, really bad for us, and it could be a huge trap. So I don't want the BTC and USDT to linger here for long, right? We'll see. The thing is, going back to BTC dominance, we are very close to testing this and seeing what's in store for us. If this 60-61% move, level, is gonna hold or not. So again, oscillators wise, we might see some chop for BTC dominance, some pullback for total 3, while BTC dominance regains some room, some space, but I don't really care. Again, it's the daily. This is what I'm looking at now. Since we got the the weekly RSI MA break below the MA, actually, the entering the bearish territory, now I switch to something else. In this case, this area. Hopefully we see that. That would be insane, guys. Insane. So I want to see this level break, and we can see that it pretty much coincides with this top and this support, right? 61, pretty much the same. So more confidence if we revisit, and perhaps what BTC dominance does is something like this, right? Or even just a little bit more chop and get rejected here later in June or whatever. That could be really, really good. So that's something we will pay attention to. And I don't want to make this video much longer. I said that I would analyze or make a longer version together with altcoins and BTC, analyzing the previous cycle, every round we've had, May 21, the summer 21, when things get going. Until then, I think it's just pure speculation and just feeding our hopes. So it is pointless. I have explained it a lot already. There's no need to repeat everything. Lastly, I want to take a look at Total 3. I just posted that it is trying to break this huge level. It is not surprising that it's being rejected. You can draw it, I don't know, even lower if you want to draw it here, but yes, you can make it this because it's resistance here, support here, but I mean, more or less 925 is the level that I'm paying attention to, more or less, right? Huge resistance here, twice, 3 times, right? In May, which was the end of the first round, in August, and the second leg was the new all-time high, and rejection pretty much here again, marking, this was the dead cat bounce, marking the end. We had some initial resistance here, but we broke the next. You can see that it was a retracement in November, so this was strong resistance at first, but weekly wise, it's just the same week it was conquered. So far, we had resistance last week. We have started the new week with resistance today, right? You can see the pullback, but I don't think it will take much to break this. And of course, this is a high time frame, the weekly. By the time we break this, it's a retest of the all-time high. We still have time. Yes, be careful with stock RSI. It doesn't mean, I said that a few times, many times actually, getting here doesn't mean it has to completely roll over. We saw how oversold it stayed while price kept going down, how overbought it stayed here while climbing up, small correction while price was going sideways, and another final push. Again here, oversold, price going down for many weeks since 22 April, 24 June, like two complete months, right? It doesn't really matter. RSI is the main indicator, in my opinion. If you see overheating here together with the stock RSI, like here, or here, or here, right? That's when you, or here, right? That's when you start thinking about being careful. We have the first weekly divergence here, bam, bam. Is this a bad area to leave the market? In April, pretty much like a month before the complete top, and perhaps your altcoins have already topped here. I think that would be crazy to manage. If we manage to do that, to do something like that, to exit the market perhaps a few weeks before the top, that would be insane. Seriously, that would be insane, right? Weekly wise, plenty of room, even if just to get here. Let's say we are here, right? Let's say we are in this second candle, even lower, right? Let's say we are here. We still have some room, which would mean breaking this, perhaps entering price discovery, and then coming back up. And then we will analyze if this apparently new move that it's shaping in the weekly, it translates as weekly retest, break, retest, continuation for the final push, Q4, or another, the retest here ends up being a faker, then we are completely down, right? So the monthly would be very, very telling by the end of May, in my opinion. I hope by the end of May, well, perhaps early June, we'll see. We have already tested this all-time high level, but please just watch the oscillators. The first time we tried to test this level, 2021, complete overheating. Of course, we came from a very, very lower point, right? And this time, from the retest, we got this double, like a double top RSI, right? Printing a potential divergence, like this double rejection, this kind of double top overheated here, double rejection at a very key level. That could mean, together with the daily divergence that we saw back here, was enough to at least de-risk something, right? We never know, but there will be signs to at least do something with our portfolio. I think there is room to go, plenty. Weekly wise, I don't care about the daily. I don't even know how the daily looks. Yeah, rejection at this current level while falling down. Perhaps we just see a retest of the MA. I don't know, just perhaps going sideways, because here we enter this kind of hesitation, but climbing. We enter this complete push. What if we do the same now? Right? We are pretty much in the same level. Here are some, hesitation candles getting overheated. We are getting there. RSI, very similar. What if we continue this vertical accumulation, vertical push until we find something like this? Right? Several days with 80 something, rejection several times at key levels with overheated levels. Yes, no big divergence, you could say, but quite overheated. And then the weekly back then, 80. It is difficult, because I could have said, well, perhaps that's a pullback and we try again, right? And you buy the pullback and you try again, but then you have this. The moment it breaks below the MA, you might think, okay, it's over. And this next push makes you feel, okay, perhaps I'm wrong, but still below the MA. It's going to be difficult, really. It's not just, okay, follow these 3 to 4 lines, whatever, and just press the sell button, make you reach, and just rinse and repeat. It's going to be hard, especially if you want to get the maximum and you don't just have the mentality that it's okay to leave money on the table. The thing is compounding, especially not losing money. I explained in a different video that if you have, let's say, 10K and you expect and you wait to see if you get 15, you might just, on the cycle ends, you might just go back to 2K or something like that. Suddenly, you have lost 8K for just wanted to get a little bit more, and to push from 2K back to 10K dollars, I mean, it will take a lot, right? So perhaps if you live with 10, the market pushes and it would have been 13, it's okay. You will reinvest the 10K again when you see high time frame signs to do that again. And perhaps if you buy around here and now here you are at 18, it doesn't really matter if you didn't get the 15 here. Perhaps you are in a rush, and I wouldn't recommend being in a hurry when you invest, whatever the market is. So I won't make this much longer. That's it. I will update again when BTC Dominance decides, hopefully, to break this, and we might start getting serious. Until then, take care. Bye.